Like Parallax here to entertain you with the help of Foo Fighters. One of these days the clocks will stop and time won't mean a thing. I was surprised. I don't have that CD. I have like 9 or so Foo Fighter CDs in my collection, but I don't have that one. A coworker had a friend of his who was in a band who passed away recently, I guess, and that song was played at his funeral these days by Foo Fighters. And he couldn't. He was asking me about it, and I was like, he couldn't remember if it was maybe Google does. Like, anyways, and talking to other people, if it was Foo Fighters. But anyways, I was surprised that I didn't have that one. It's not even on the greatest hits, so it's obviously on an album they made a little later on. Then. This one's basically just going to be a journal entry. I was so dog tired last night. I just had just enough energy to make that one video about Tulsi Gabbard. So, and that one standalone. I woke up the next morning. Damn, over 600 views, 8 likes, and 1 hater comment. Boy, this last couple of weeks has been like Christmas every day. Got the Lakin Riley Act passed. Got it's kind of nice having a president who won't shy away from using the term bullshit. Yeah, because that word bullshit definitely describes the Democratic Party policies of the last decade. For those of you who don't know, deca is Greek for decade or 10. Oh, what else? So much has happened since I've been working, and making money. And it's all mine. But yeah, the pardons. Yeah, there was some journalist a week back or whatever was talking about saying that trying to justify Biden's pardon and demonize Trump's pardons. Typical. This is why the legacy media is dead. This is why that kid I work with at the store will never admit to it, but this is why he stopped reading the newspaper he used to read. I still remember the day he walked up to me the week after Trump was shot, and he's like, "Did you hear Trump was shot?" And he's looking at it in his newspaper that he usually looks at, and he's like, he was learning about it himself just now. Like, yeah, I knew about this over the weekend when it happened. Or it might have been a week later, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, the point is, that's why legacy media is dead. And that Biden, I might be inclined to give him a pass for giving it's his son, so obviously he's going to give his son a pardon. Whether or not it was right or wrong to do that, well, I believe that Joe Biden's son and Hunter Biden will answer to the same God as me one day. But when Biden pardoned the J6 committee and Fauci, yeah, that's when he became even more human garbage than he already was. Well, the rest of this video is going to be a series of memories I'm going to share from my my own life, and how I conclude that the medical industry is ruled by misinformation. Pain medicine dominates. This is why if you're talking to a doctor and the doctor says, "Well, it's good you're feeling better, but you're still going to take these medications," I think it's a good idea you continue to take these medications. Yeah, no. If your doctor ever says that, it might be time to start seeking out a new doctor. But I was recalling something from my own past. When I was a kid, I didn't have health insurance, but I still lived at home, so I didn't have rent to worry about. I saw a documentary on PBS that made me a little concerned about the health matter of testicular cancer. So I told my mom, I'm gonna, I'm really worried here. I'll just pay for it myself, the doctor visit and everything, and I'll just go and get checked out for this stuff. because it said in the documentary that if you're going to get it, you'll get it when you're young. So that was the selling point for me. So I went in, got checked out, and I remember talking when I made the call to make the appointment. The receptionist said, "I think you're too young for that." Misinformation. I mean, she was just a reception. I guess you could say, you could chalk it up to that. But when I talked to the doctor then initially, the same doctor that my ma had for her personal physician, the doctor said, yeah, the documentary was right. If you're going to get it, you'll get it when you're young. Anyway, so I got checked out, and everything was fine, everything. But I just wanted to see, this is why, this is just one example in my whole life since I was 8 years old. I remember when I was 8 and the doctor diagnosed me with asthma and psoriasis and all this stuff. And when I look back to now, the wet method, the dry method, blah, 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 what the? I had ear infections all my life, and I'm like, what the hell? I get the more I learned on my own, the more I recall what doctors said when I was a child, even as far back as then, and how it was contradictory. Anyways, so long story short, this doctor that I saw was the same doctor that my ma had, the personal physician of my ma. A guy by the name of Dr. Z. I remember because we used to make jokes. Dr. Z, and then like Dr. No. But a couple of years later, I actually saw him when I was still a child working at a convenience store. He actually came into the store once, and I saw him. Another year or so after that, I was talking to my mom because he was her regular physician. And she said she learned through the grapevine that this guy, and I got to say this next part in code, so the video don't get flagged, that this guy up and deleted himself from the physical world. Wow! Amazing world we live in, huh? That was one personal memory I remembered I wanted to share, and here's the other one. The subject of Ms. versus Mrs. versus Miss. So, when I was in college, we had a teacher, Ms. Wade, was a college teacher, who made it clear she would not respond to you if you referred to her as Mrs. or Ms. or Mrs. or Ms. or Miss. Or Miss. If you referred to her as Mrs. or Miss, she would only respond to Ms. Wade. Okay, it's fine. I personally don't have a problem with that. But in class one day when she was making this point, she said she explained the reason. She says because Mrs. basically is saying that you're a Mister's Miss. Ms. means that you're telling the world that you're single, versus Miss. And I remember distinctly in class, a classmate, female classmate, thought and verbalized divorce. And even I was surprised at this. What? And the teacher, too, Ms. Wade, was surprised at this. No, Ms. is just as no ID as Mr. With Mr., there is no social ID, likewise Ms. But unlike Mrs., which means you're telling the world you're married, or Ms., or Miss, you're telling the world you're single. M-I-S-S, Miss. M-R-S, Mrs. Versus M-S, Ms. I just thought that was so freaking... Oh, man. But yeah, Ms. means there's no social, and it's like Mr. There's no social identification that comes with being called Ms. I agree. In business terms, a lady's personal life should not matter. Only, can they do their job? That's what matters. And it goes like, I got to repeat this, I'm always saying on this channel, because it's good. The problem with the world in the 1950s is the male system was in place where the male ego was allowed to run amok. The problem with the world today is the system is in place that allows the female ego to run amok. And now back to being able to do the job. You know, when I'm going to travel by plane, I don't think, I wonder what nationality, race, or sex the pilot is. I say to myself, this person better know their aviation shiat, because I don't want to die. That's what I think. That's why DEI is dead. Yeah, go Trump, go Trump, go. Kill all these Democratic Party bullshit policies. Speaking of bullshit, let's go back to feminism. I'm starting to wonder if when a female is complaining, she's really confessing. Should make a video short on that one. Put that one aside. Yeah, I mean, really, it's just men and women are different, man. I had an ex that was actually in my personal life in the past. I had an ex that was jealous of how reading made me happy. I like to read, and I had an ex who was jealous of this. What the hell? She'd be jealous if she see me reading, and I would be happy while I'm reading something. Oh God! Okay, I don't want this to be too long. So this past fall, the man in my mother's life passed away, and I sort of inherited his Hot Wheel collection, some of which were mine, that I sold and gave to him. Sold when I was desperate for money, and later on, when I was no longer desperate, I just gave to him. And I'm like, I can't believe he kept this crap. Look at these cars, like, damn, I had this when I was a kid. Anyways, I also inherited his comic book collection, including a romance comic. So, and I was reading this thing. It's from 1973, and there was one article in here I got to share. I think this is the closest they had in 1973 to what they call now trolling. So, it's a 1973 romance comic, and it's one of those advice columns things. And this happens to be a guy named Mark. A column called On the Man's Side. So apparently this from this whole point of this thing is so you get these ladies can ask their girl relationship problems and get a man's perspective. So this is how I'm not going to read all of it, but this is great. Probably the closest thing to trolling they had in 73. So this Mark guy says, "Bow down, womankind. Mark, sage of Olympia Gander, has returned. Ha ha! Thought you could get rid of me, eh? You sponge-minded girl livers." Well, dream on, fluffheads. It seems as if old Uncle Mark has more worshippers than you could count. And then it goes on. I'm not going to read all this, but there was a voting thing where apparently this guy was winning. He was winning the votes with these women. But this last letter I want to share, somebody wrote in, "Dear Mark, I have just read your column in Young Love. I think having a man's point of view on girls' problems is a great change. But must you be so rude? I know you're trying to get your point across, but couldn't you be more diplomatic with your answers? Hand it to your readers straight, Mark, but for Pete's sake, don't hurt anyone." To which this guy Mark replies, or it was signed Concerned. "Dear Concerned, men who have been diplomatic with women have a distinct history of meeting with untimely disaster." What happened to Rome when Mark Antony met Cleopatra? It fell, of course. What happened to Samson when he treated Delilah with kindness above and beyond the call of duty? He went permanently bald. Naturally. Okay, John Smith almost lost his tactical head over Pocahontas. And we all know what happened when Eve was admitted to the Garden of Eden. Diplomacy? Forget it! We men are the ones who keep this globe spinning. You girls better remember it. I thought that was awesome. Mike Fairlack. Oh, God. Thank you for your time.